Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Suma McPhail, and I'm the founder and CEO of WeQual School, a project-based, self-directed virtual learning platform. Our students present their projects every Saturday at 2 p.m. For more information, please go to wequal.school. At this week's demo day, we will be talking about personality types. First, starting with Seth Pellig presenting his article on the entrepreneur.
Thank you, Sume. Hello, my name is Seth Pellig, and I am an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur is one of the 16 personality types in the Myers-Briggs personality test. The letters for an entrepreneur are ESTP. In my article, I talk about the strengths, weaknesses, and a few personality traits. I also compare them with my own experiences. First, a few strengths. We are bold, creative, and direct. When I learned about these traits, I could instantly relate them to my life. I try to be bold by putting myself out there, so when an opportunity arises, I can take it. For creativity, I love making my own piano pieces. I started a few months ago, and I've currently written 3. Indirect. Whenever I have a question, I always ask. I never stand in the shadows in hopes of someone else asking the same one. An ESTP also has many weaknesses I see in myself. I can be insensitive, impatient, and risk prone. A lot of time, I can be insensitive in emotionally charged situations because I have trouble acknowledging and expressing my own feelings. I can be impatient when writing. Whenever I can't find the right words to say, I can get extremely annoyed and tend to rush. Lastly, I can be risk prone. The test states this as a weakness, but I see it as a strength. As long as you take calculated risks, many things can go your way. A few extra facts about the entrepreneur are that we are more extroverted than introverted, observant over intuitive, thinking over feeling, prospecting over judging, and assertive over turbulent. I strongly recommend everyone to take the Myers-Briggs personality test, not only a way to recognize your strengths and weaknesses, but an amazing way to better understand yourself.
Thank you, Seth. Now Antigone is going to present this article on the campaigner.
Hi everyone, my name is Antigone Stark. I'm a sophomore at McLean. Sume actually originally wrote this article for me, and I made a few edits, and now I'll just be summing it up for you. I'll be talking about the personality test ENFP, which is also known as the campaigner personality test. E stands for extroverted, N for the ENFP represents extroverted, intuitive feeling, and prospecting. And some famous campaigners are Robert Downey Jr., Kelly Clarkson, and Will Smith. Some key traits of campaigners are they are independent, energetic, and compassionate. They make up about 7% of the population, and they also really don't like being micromanaged, which can make school and 9-to-5 workplaces kind of difficult for them. They are driven, and they also know how to relax and have fun. In addition to this, they can also be very friendly. They are good at making friends, and they do it with almost everybody. However, they do have a couple of weaknesses, which I see in myself. They have poor practical skills, common sense and stuff. They find it difficult to focus. They can overthink things, and they can really get stressed easily. However, they are highly emotional, and they can also sense people's emotions very well and understand other people, but sometimes they go a little overboard by overthinking the implications of them. Campaigners also think very highly of their friends, but they can be let down when they give them unrealistic expectations. And they are also one of their most defining points is how generous they are. They usually struggle to sustain a lot of one-sided generosity, and it can lead to a few unhealthy relationships. And in summary, they make up 7% of the population. They are loyal friends, but a one-sided relationship does not work for them. And they don't like being micromanaged, and they follow their own interests with passion and drive. I encourage you to take the Myers-Briggs test to understand yourself and make a few connections. Thank you.
That was awesome, Antigone. Now Seth and Layla are presenting their article comparing their personalities as siblings.
Hi, I'm Layla, and this is Seth. We're siblings. But just for the record, he's adopted.
Haha, no, I'm not. I'm an entrepreneur, and Layla is a campaigner. Today, we'll be presenting our article on our main compatibilities and incompatibilities.
The similarity we have is we're both really messy. According to my mom, both of our rooms are extremely unorganized. We know where everything is. We may have different reasons, although it's still the way we like it. Don't get me wrong, I do clean my room, but it might take me a few months.
Jokes aside, the main way this links us of being compatible is that we are both comfortable with chaos. Another incompatibility we have is that I am more of a think/direct type of person, where Layla is more of an emotional one. This comes into play a lot when I try to help her with math. If there's an easy problem that she might not get, I may say something along the lines of, "Oh, how do you not get that? It's really simple." I'm not trying to be rude, but it just kind of happens.
I understand that he's not trying to be rude, it's just part of his personality, and also a bit because we're siblings.
I recommend everyone to take the Myers-Briggs personality test, not only to see your individual strengths and weaknesses, but also individual traits. For me, being direct is neither a strength or a weakness, it's more of a tool. There are times where it's extremely good to be direct, like when you're trying to get something you want, but also there's times where you have to turn it down, especially when I'm trying to help my sister with homework. You can change your personality, or you cannot change your personality, but you can control it. That is what this test has taught me.
Thank you, Seth and Layla. Isla is going to talk about her personality, the entertainer.
Thank you so much, Sume. My name is Isla McPhail, and I am 9 years old. Today, I will be presenting my article on the entertainer. The entertainer's 4 letters are ESFP, otherwise known as extroverted, sensing, which means you focus more on details, feeling, which means you focus more on how the other person's feeling rather than the actual topic of the conversation when you're in a conversation with another person. The last one is prospecting, which means I'm not much of a planner. Some characteristics you can notice in an entertainer is that they love to have fun, which and part of the things they love to do and have fun with is entertaining people. They're very social people and energetic. Some strengths they have is that they are bold, original, they have good showmanship. They are practical, which means they are more rational and they focus more on facts. They are more observant and have excellent people skills. Some weaknesses they have is that they are sensitive, easily bored, poor long-term planners, and can be very easily unfocused. Lastly is friendships. For friendships, they have a large social circle, which means they can have a lot of friends. They love adventuring with others. And entertaining people and telling jokes, which can help them be the life of the party. They also support and encourage their friends and care deeply about them, and can be very emotionally supportive at most of the time. For conclusion, now you have been entertained by the entertainer.
Thank you, Isla. Now I'm going to be talking about the advocate personality, which is INFJ. The letters mean that I'm introverted, intuitive, which means that I focus more on the big picture, feeling, which means I'm more emotionally oriented, and judging, which doesn't mean I'm judgmental. All it means is that I'm more of a planner. Some of the strengths of the INFJ is that I'm creative, insightful, principled, passionate, and altruistic. Some of the weaknesses is that I can be sensitive to criticism, extremely private, perfectionistic, avoiding the ordinary, and I can burn out easily. This means a few things for the INFJ. Since I'm very passionate, I can be sensitive to criticism, because if I worked really hard on something, then I can feel upset if someone criticizes it and I feel as though my efforts weren't acknowledged. Since I'm perfectionistic, I can set unrealistic goals for projects that I'm working on, myself, and my friends, which can cause some consequences. So what are INFJs like as friends? Advocates crave deep and authentic relationships with their friends and enjoy discussing about ideas, philosophies, and theories. They actively search out for people that share common interests with them, and are also very perfectionistic in their relationships, causing them to be let down by people. This can cause many problems if they feel as though they can't find it's very hard for advocates to find people that reach their ideal standards. So they need to learn how to not expect so much from their friends. That is a brief overview of the advocate personality. And now Isla and I will be talking about how our personalities compare and the strengths and weaknesses of our relationship. Isla, as you already know, is
The entertainer.
and I am the advocate. So a few things is that Isla is very outgoing and loves to be the center of attention. But whereas I'm more reserved. Isla isn't really all that great at analyzing things in repetitive tasks, and whereas I can do good in those things. Some of the strengths in our relationship is that I focus more on the big picture, whereas Isla focuses more on the details. That makes it so that we can have a more productive conversations, since I might see something that Isla might miss, and vice versa.
Another strength that we have is that we're both feeling. So because we're both siblings, we're both siblings, when we have conversations, we are both kind of thinking about how the other person's feeling, which can help us avoid conflict with each other when we're having a conversation.
Another strength in our relationship is that Isla's extroverted and I'm introverted, which allows us to have effortless conversations, and we can both communicate in the way that we prefer. Isla can keep the conversation going without any effort, and I can chime in when I want. There are also some weaknesses in our relationship, including
that I am prospecting and my sister is judging. Which, as you've already heard, my sister plans more and I maybe not so much. So this can cause problems, like if my sister goes and prepares for a meeting 30 minutes early, and I would rather jump in 1 minute early. She can also be trying to get inside a serious type of mood, and I would rather bounce on the couch.
Another weakness of our personality is the flip side of my big picture thinking and Isla's detail-oriented thinking. Because of that, we might be talking, since we see the world so differently, when we're having conversations, I might be confused as why she is focusing more on a detail that I might find unimportant. We would definitely recommend comparing personalities with all types of relationships, but especially your siblings, because it can have dramatically positive impacts on your relationship because you're with them so much. Now Antigone is going to be presenting her article on a critical review of the Myers-Briggs.
Hi everyone, I'm Antigone. Today I will be talking about the Myers-Briggs and its many faults. So the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator is what it's called. It's also known as the 16 Personalities Test. It's really fun. It's also trending, and a lot of people consider it eye-opening. And they use it to find more about themselves. It's also been used in workplaces to assign jobs based on personality types, including use in 200 government agencies, which was just kind of stunning. Also, browsing YouTube, you can find quite a few videos of people taking the test and just gushing about how much they relate to their results, which is also surprising. But if you dive a little deeper, you'll find that there are quite a few scientific journals that don't support the Myers-Briggs test. And why is it so popular then? So the Myers-Briggs test the basis of the Myers-Briggs test comes from Carl Jung's book, Psychological Types. In the book, Jung says that people can be sorted into two main groups, perceivers, judgers. The first one can be sorted into sensing and intuitive, and then the latter, thinking and feeling, and everyone can be divided into extroverted and introverted. Jung, however, he openly admitted that his classifications were based on observances, even saying every individual is an exception to the rule. And his research wasn't based on controlled experiments. He didn't have data. It was completely based on speculation. Then later in the 1930s, a woman named Catherine Briggs, actually a stay-at-home mom who was kind of bored, read Jung's book. She devoted herself to it, and then she even reached out to Jung on a few occasions. She used his book as a spiritual quest. She was interested in discovering her best self. Later, her daughter, Isabel Briggs, later Isabel Myers, from which the Myers-Briggs test is named, she morphed Jung's categories and her mother's observances into a people sorting questionnaire. And she's the one who really mass marketed it, giving people campaigner, caregiver, and scientist titles. Neither of them had formal experience in psychology. They, like Jung, it was complete speculation. And because the test was developed without any scientific backing, it's no wonder that it falls short of tests of accuracy and consistency today. So what were some of the faults? Well, the Myers-Briggs test uses limited binaries. This means that it's based on the conception that people either fall into one category or they don't. There's no in between. But people just don't work that way. We all have nuances. We're not purely extroverted. We're not purely introverted. And the test completely fails to address this. Another issue with the test is its inconsistency. One study shows that almost 50% of the people get different results after repeating the test only 5 weeks later. And one of the reasons for this was identified in another study, which says that the subject taking the test, the results actually depend on the user's mood. So consistency is not a strong point of this test. So looking back, if the Myers-Briggs test is so inaccurate, inconsistent, non-reflective of humans, why is it used? Well, people actually really enjoy putting themselves in categories. People like to be neat. It gives us comfort to organize ourselves, and it also keeps us anchored in times of self-doubt and confusion. Also, the results are very non-judgmental. The test will never tell you that you're selfish. It will never tell you that you're mean. The results are always very flattering. And so it can give us a feeling of worthiness and make us feel like we can be unapologetically us. In conclusion, you should never use the test for any scientific purposes, and you should always kind of doubt the conclusions that the tests give you because, like I said, it's both inaccurate and inconsistent. But you can't deny the connections people make with their tests. and it can be helpful in making us feel comforted as well as giving us a sense of worthiness. So thank you.
Thank you, Antigone. We're now going to open this up into a question answer session. So if anybody watching has any questions, then they can just write it in the comments on Facebook Live. The first question is for Antigone. Are you critical of the Myers-Briggs, or were you just interested in the science behind personality tests?
A little bit of both. I've always been pretty critical of personality tests because I just don't think you can give someone a name and say, this is you, this is all you. And especially since there are only 16 categories, how can like the whole population fit into that? But I am also very interested in it. And like I said, as I was describing my campaigner, well, actually, Sume wrote the article, but as I was describing it, I was also really connecting to some of the points. So a little bit of both, I'd say. Thanks for the question.
This is for Seth and Layla. How hard was it to for you to work together on a project like this?
For me, it wasn't too bad. I mean, my sister's bearable at times, but yeah. Honestly, though, it really wasn't too bad. It's actually kind of fun.
We just went over it a few times, and it really wasn't hard to walk together. Like, we didn't fight on it whatsoever, which was really good.
Was that surprising?
Yeah,
A bit.
kind of.
This is for Isla. How are you using your entertainer personality?
Well, we actually have a serious playlist that we're doing. You can check it on Weekwell, at the Weekwell YouTube channel, and that's how I'm using it. Also, some things that I'm thinking about is maybe auditioning for a play, or auditioning to go on America's Got Talent to sing or do a comedy routine.
Awesome. So my son might be interested in self-directed learning, but might need some help coming up with ideas. How does Weekwell School help with this? Well, one thing is that we do have these demo days, and so it gives topics for each week, and that makes it so that they can just look at all the topics and think, well, maybe I might be interested in this, maybe I might be interested in this, or I don't even know what this is. What does this mean? And that can help expose kids to a lot of different ideas, which can help them expand their interests and just know more about the possibilities, which can help them come up with ideas. Also, we do have a students page which shows the projects that other students created, and they can look through that to think and to try to give them some ideas as well. Does anybody want to add on to that, or should we go to the next question? Okay. Question for Seth from a prospecting student. Can you talk a bit more about changing versus controlling your personality? That was an interesting point. Not sure if I should focus on growing strengths or fixing weaknesses.
So what I was trying to say is you can't just try to change how you are. Your weaknesses are your weaknesses, not they're you can't change it. And you actually shouldn't try to change it. You should try to grow on it, and kind of control them. Because you don't want to change who you are as a person, because I just don't see that as a good thing. But growing yourself is a better thing, I would say. And that's kind of what I was trying to go out there.
Yeah. Also, like, to add on about what you were saying on controlling what it is, you can't really control your weaknesses, and your weaknesses aren't really a weakness at all. Like, you can
They just can be a
you
weakness
can
sometimes.
it can be a weakness, but you can just use your that part of you in different situations, and it can turn out to be really helpful.
So this is a question for you, Isla. How old are you? That was a great presentation. How can I get my kids to learn to present with confidence like that?
Well, I'm 9. I think I already said that when I was presenting, but might not have catch that. And I feel like other young people, or just adults in general, you just have to have, when you're having confidence, when you want to have confidence in yourself, you have to. We actually did a speech on that to a few Girl Scouts a few days ago, and you can check that out on Facebook. But you have to really know who you are and know your strengths too. And you have to be curious and not fear failure. Or else, if you fear failure, then how are you going to have the courage to go and present something if you feel like somebody will not like it? And then your confidence, just the little bit you have, will just collapse. So, yeah.
What age group goes to Equal School? Well, we have a very broad age group that goes to Equal School, but we are kind of we are thinking that this might be more helpful for kids maybe in between the age of 12 to maybe 17, but it definitely is, we definitely are accepting younger students. But if there is maybe a 9 or 8-year-old, then we might want their parents to be more involved.
I'm 9.
Let's see here. Question for anyone. Which personality test is best for teenagers? Well, I would say we did take a few, but I would say, I mean, I'm not sure. I think just whichever one
they would prefer.
Yeah, because if you take the test and you're not really resonating with it, but then if you take a different test and it really does make sense and it's showing and you are resonating with all the strengths and weaknesses, then I would probably suggest that one. But I do really like principlesU.com because it allows you to compare yourself with other personalities, which would be really helpful in like growing your relationship with someone, because it really lays out with the articles that Seth and Layla wrote and that Isla and I wrote. We just took our Myers-Briggs and we're kind of thinking about the compatibilities and incompatibilities, but with Principles U, it just lays that all out, and that can just make it a lot easier. Does anyone? I'm not actually a teenager, but
you're a little teen. You're
but I mean, if you guys want to add on that.
No, I think what you said is good. Like there are multiple tests out there. Just take a few, and then if you feel like one of the results really feel like you, then that's the one you should go with.
Yeah, I agree with that. Also, just keep in mind that it's not going to be completely accurate or consistent. So,
yeah, I think I got that message pretty well from your.
Yeah. So if you're looking for like something that really describes you, don't take a personality test. But
I think it's a really good place to start thinking about yourself, because even if you don't test as something that necessarily is exactly you, by taking the test you're starting to think about that. Whereas you might not even know where to start when it's just like, well, who am I,
who
but
am I?
and
well.
I mean, like, it's also I actually didn't find out that I was an INFJ by testing as it. I kept testing as an INFP and an ENFP, which is you and Layla, but I was just reading through them because I was kind of obsessing over it, and that was the one that most resonated with me. So yeah, it doesn't always have to be your tested one that you really resonate with either.
Yeah, but I think the Antigone's points that she was using for her summary really did help me think
Yeah.
more about that. Like, you can also do different tests for different personality, like, websites and stuff. And that just helps you think more about it. Like, when you're usually before I was starting to do personality tests, when people ask me, who do you think you are? I was like, well, I'm a little 7-year-old in the United States. It's like, yeah.
This is a question for me. Who can sign up for Code Academy, and what is being presented during the apps demo day? Well, Code Academy is free for anybody at We Cool School, and the things being presented at the apps demo day is just some of the apps that the students at Code Academy have made, and we might have a guest who does do Flutter programming who might show up, but that isn't that isn't confirmed. This is also a question for me. I watched your genomics presentation in this one, and you seem to do a lot of projects. How do you manage your time? Well, we have kind of like a to-do list for each day, but a lot of it, I think I just know what I need to accomplish. So I know, well, we need to have these projects done. I know, I mean, sometimes it isn't really clear. Like with coding, I can always do more coding. I can always do less coding. It isn't, but it's more like, well, how much do I do that is really going to make it so that I don't take away my energy from other things, but is really also when I'm energized about something, maybe I'll spend more time on it.
Yeah, also, like, you think about what you want to do, and then you think about what you have to do, what you want to do, and then like what has deadlines and stuff like that, and when are those deadlines. So like if it's like in a few days, then you might want to work more on that
than something that's a few weeks away.
Yeah.
So just have really clear goals that you want to do. Question for anyone. Where can I read these articles? At wequal.school. If you go to the students page, we have everybody's profiles, and then you can read the articles. Does Wequal School only cover one topic every week? What do students do if they are not interested in that topic? We do have a topic for every week, but if students aren't interested in that topic, then they can definitely write it or make a video about anything else, and then they'll just present that in the private session demo day, which we don't broadcast live on Facebook. Let's see here. How do I sign up my son for Wequal School, and how much does it cost? To sign up for Wequal School, you go to wequal.school, which is a website, and there'll be a sign up form. And we are not charging anything because this is just what we love to do.
Well, not charging anything yet. We might get too many. I mean, I want to make that money.
Have you used the Enneagram personality test? I did.
What's that?
I did take it, but then I didn't resonate with it. I do know that a lot of people have taken the Enneagram test, but I didn't really. It was more of like a quick thing. I'm spent more time looking at the Myers-Briggs and the Principles U. Have you guys taken that one? Have you heard of it? Oh, okay.
Well, you might want to still check it out because you don't know if you might really resonate with it. That's the thing about personality tests. Some of them may work very well and some of them may not.
And even if it doesn't resonate with you at all, it just might on an off chance resonate with you, and you might learn something about yourself that you wouldn't have if you didn't accidentally test as some random type on some random personality test. I think, do we have any more questions? Okay. Well, thank you everyone for presenting at this demo day. We might not have the app building demo day next week. I think we still have to confirm that. But this was awesome. And if you want to see the projects, as I already mentioned, then you can go to wequal.school. So thank you everyone. Bye.
Thank you.